Alright, what's up, y'all? So, in today's stream, we're gonna be reacting to the new Firebirds update teaser or preview. They're gonna be showing off the new vehicles and shit today, so I thought we'd give it a look, give it a little look-see looks, you know what I'm saying, and see how it looks. I'm more excited for the French vehicles, because I'm curious what France is gonna get. They should be going live any minute now. Yep, here we go. It is currently 8 in the morning where I'm at, so that's fun. After I'm done with the stream, I gotta go and clean some shit out, and then we'll be doing the Call of Duty stream. I might do some zombies today, because I enjoyed zombies.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the official test stream of the Firebirds update. We're going to be showing you some of the new content that will be coming into the future update coming out soon, and I hope that you will enjoy some of the spicy stuff we have been working on. You've seen some stuff in the trailer, F117, this thing right here above my head, yes, you've heard before, which is looking absolutely amazing. And there are some other things that we have been working in. So, let's begin by not checking out the vehicles actually, but telling you that we are working on some new graphics options. We have been working on some new anti-aliasing methods. We have DLSS and as well as TSR, which you can have various balance settings for. This should give you a bit of a sharper image overall, and even some better performance. And if you scroll down a bit, you may see an interesting little menu over here. Perhaps. I don't know what that is. Some of you were smart, you've seen in the trailer there was some very good reflections going on. Yeah, we're working on ray tracing. However, the keyword here is working on it. It's not ready to show on this dev stream, I'm afraid. BVV will be talking about it a little bit more in detail in the later Russian stream, which will start after the stream ends. So if you want some more info about ray tracing, tune into that stream as well.
Still being worked on. I've tested it a bit on my end. It does look really, really good, but it does have some stuff to figure out. So yeah, check on that stream a bit later to hear more about it.
Alright, let's begin with the vehicle presentation. Not this one just yet. Tom, show us the new SPA options for America.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. This is the first devlog that I did for this cycle, and something I've been waiting for a really long time. This is the T77, the E1 variant. This is the one with the plexiglass housings here. These don't actually have any protection against anything, basically. They're just sort of open compartments, basically, for the crew. But the commander can also fire the main gun, so if you lose the gunner, the commander can take over, which is really nice. Overall, it's a really good option. It's going to work a lot better in up tiers as well. While the M19 and the Duster are pretty good regarding anti-tank ability, this one not so much. It's very, very forgiving. At the moment, I think it has a reload either, and I can also give you a little test drive. I just want to show something else. For people like me who have higher resolution monitors as well, the tracer resolution has been increased, so they're much more bright. You can see them very, very clearly at range now. Like previously I struggled with that a lot, I'd always complain about it, not being able to see. But yeah, now they are very, very visible. You can see them a lot better.
600 rounds.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice as well. It's a bit worried that the flash from the gun is going to blind you, but it's actually not too bad. Got a really nice concentration of fire. The traverse is really quick, and elevation it can almost go straight up. It's like 85, I think. So it's very, very good. It's going to work great. Basically, pretty much any lineup until you get some of the more really advanced anti-air units. I think it's nice. So really good to see that one. And as well, of course, we're going to have the skink. As well for the USA. It's not going to take the place of any other anti-air units that would be added. We've got a lot more planned there. It's just an extra on top, really. With the RAM also being added to the UK, which we can have a look at later as well. A few other little things just along here. The B-17G gets some extra bombs, the two 4,000-pound bombs underneath. It's pretty cool. It's a new. I think it's new. In my brain, it's not. I think it is. And we also have a couple more vehicles that have the internal modules added as well. There's a full list on the changelog. You can have a look a bit later. But for now, a few of the more notorious higher tier vehicles that have a lot of empty space have got some new bits and bobs inside as well. So yeah, check them out later. We can probably show you a few of them as we go along.
Alright, Tom, set up the custom battle because we are going to be testing the stealth capabilities of this thing right here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the F-117. The first stealth aircraft we're adding to the game, and yes, it does have stealth capabilities, which we're going to be showing you in the custom battle in a second. Now, it looks very nice. I'm going to be real with you, it's a bit useless.
Well, I mean, it depends what you want to use it for.
Well, let's go over the stats of it. So, benefits. It looks really cool, and it does reduce the range at which you can be locked on by radar. In fact, almost completely nullifying it as long as you're flying directly towards the target. Like, this is very, very good at reducing the radar cross-section. However, it has no countermeasures. It is subsonic, and it only has 2 weapon slots. Now, you do get guide bombs. You have the option of taking laser-guided paveways, as well as JDAMs. However, it's not quite enough bomb amount to actually take down a base by yourself in RRB. Oh, there's an interesting thing you'll see here as well.
So, if you are equipping in your loadout the ordnance, it will actually show you exactly where inside it is as well. So just sort of give you a bit of visualization of where exactly the internal ordnance is.
Oh, I thought that was really advanced stealth tech.
You had to do it. You had to do it.
Okay, we're going to try this out. Tom is bringing out the F-117. I'm going to bring out this F-15, and we're going to see how the radar of the F-15 can cope with that. Okay, yes, I mean, right, very good.
I think all the settings are right.
That should be good.
You're right.
All right. Let's see how this goes. Something is unplugging and replugging stuff. I think it may be my keyboard.
It was getting a beat there for a second, that was good.
Beep, beep. Alright, I am bringing out a mixture of M120s as well as A9Ls. We are going to be testing out the reduced IR emissions of the plane as well. However, from our previous testing so far, it's not all that great compared to, for example, helicopters with their IR countermeasure systems. Okay, we are in. Let's see. Tom is going to be somewhere right in front of me, however, right now I still cannot lock onto him at all. There we go.
It's F-15C, but
okay, so
a little better.
I can lock onto him from a fairly far distance. That is because he's not flying directly towards me. If he flies a bit more towards me, like right now, I'm having some troubles locking onto that. 5 kilometers away, 4 kilometers away, 3 kilometers away.
Damn.
It is really sensitive, so the plane has to be basically facing directly towards the radar source in order to be able to almost completely negate a radar lock. All other aspects will still give a little bit more of a radar signature, less so than in other planes, so it is still going to be not quite as easy to lock on as other planes. However, keep it also in mind. At the current battle rating sits at 8.7, it's not going to be facing F-15s.
In air anyway, in ground it's a bit higher, but yeah, in air.
So it is going to be facing stuff with much worse radar. This is the worst case scenario here right now.
Yeah.
Okay, for the next test, let's test out the IR capabilities.
Okay, where do you want me?
Just fly directly towards me.
Okay.
From behind it doesn't work all that well still. It does mask the IR signature somewhat, but you can still look onto it from fairly far away. And even from the front, it is still able to be locked onto. Now the problem again is, the F-117 does not have any kind of countermeasures, which means no chance of evading that one.
Absolutely not.
Okay, let's go back to the hangar. There's one more feature we can show actually, who it is. So we have been working on adding a sort of mini replay, which records all the hits you have taken and given throughout your battles.
So happy for this.
And there's a new button here at the bottom. The hit analysis, you go onto that, and of course I only fired 1 missile at you, but it will tell me exactly where the missile impacted. Yep. And it will give you a list for every kill that you got, as well as every hit that you received yourself. So if you get killed by a random missile from 5 kilometers away, you will know what missile it was, where exactly it hit you, and even how far away it was launched from.
So I look on my end too, I have the exact same screen that Mike has, and I can also simulate the same shot. So Same with ground as well. So if you ever get killed by something that seems a bit weird, we don't really see exactly how you died, it will show you. Which works really well in a couple of ways. Primarily just for understanding like how did I die, how did I do that, what happened, and it will show you how that happened. But also if there are any issues, this will also help catch them much more effectively. They should also be able to be saved in a way that can be reported as errors as well. I think a bit more effectively. So really good. I've been excited for this for quite a while to come to the game. So yeah, it's a really good little feature. Excellent.
But fun a little bit on the F-117. It is a squadron vehicle, which means you can get this thing for free. You don't need to participate in an event or buy it. You have the option of quickly buying it if you want to skip the whole progression system of the squadron. But as long as you're on a squadron, you can just AFK'ly get this thing entirely for free, which I think is a good solution because it gives everyone access to a stealth plane. However, not very useful it may be.
Yeah, I think the squadron vehicle is really the perfect way for it because like any other way, you might be getting something that wouldn't actually be that effective. But a squadron vehicle makes it like a very much an optional thing. So if you're interested in it, you go into it understanding that it may not be the most like meta thing ever, but it's like a bit of fun if you use it in the right way. And also, like customs or that kind of thing, it's a really nice one to fly around. And it just looks really cool anyway. So
I mean, come on, look at this.
yeah,
beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, these are the current notifications as they are. A little disclaimer, as we always have to do on these dev streams, you can see the text right above my head. This is work in progress, stats may not be final. What you see in terms of loadouts, weapon performance, battle ratings, all that stuff. It may already be finalized, it may not be finalized, so don't take it too seriously. Take it with a grain of salt, in case you see something that seems a bit weird. Anyway, let's move on to the next plane. We have the F-15E Strike Eagle. This is a cast-focused variant of the F-15. Oh, sorry. This is a cast-focused variant of the F-15 with access to some very nice weapon loadouts. You can bring paveways, you can bring JDAMs, you can bring dumb bombs as well as parachute drag bombs. You can bring a ton of these paveway 2s, and most importantly, you can bring this.
What is that?
This is the GBU-39 glide bomb. So, these are essentially GPS-guided bombs. However, unlike the previous GPS-guided bombs, like the JDAMs, they do have deployable little wings, which allow them to travel a much further distance. In fact, you can see it has a 700-second guidance time.
Yeah. Okay.
If you launch it from high enough and fast enough, up to Mach 1, after that you can't launch them anymore, these can probably travel over 40 kilometers quite easily. They are very nice. I'm going to quickly take them into a test flight and also show you our new test flight menu. We have been working on the one for aircraft. You can now select a few options, like for example, what map you want to be playing on, the altitude you spawn on. Yes, finally you don't have to spawn on the airfield, take time climbing and then use your weapons. You can just spawn in the air now, which is a huge update. And you can even select what type of vehicles you're going to be facing on the grounds. It's going to be either modern vehicles, MBTs, or World War II stuff. And they all respawn as well, which means you can just go ahead and do your cast training as much as you want without any issues at all.
You already showed the F-15.
Let's go into it real quick. We're going to test out our new... Oh, look at that. I forgot to mention that. There we go. We have so many new graphical effects, it's a bit hard to keep track of everything.
We do, yeah.
We have a new afterburner. Several new afterburners, in fact. You're going to see later on the SU-34 has a completely different graphic for the afterburners with blue flames. We have vapor trails finally when you do high G maneuvers, high angle attack maneuvers I should say, which looks absolutely insane on this F-15. Alright, let's try and use our glide bombs now. This is a bit close of course, but it should still work. Given that these are GPS guided, you can actually fairly easily... did I forget to bring the targeting pod? Right, I forgot to bring targeting pod.
It's the dev stream curse every time.
But you can lock them all manually. With the targeting pod, it's going to be way easier, of course, because you can just click on all the targets at once and take them all out at once. Manually is going to be a bit harder, but it still does work.
Be a little OP,
We're not sure to put the targeting pod on the SU-34, because that one also gets glide bombs, which are absolutely nasty.
The Pen Zero will probably be able to take care of it, but
I think that is it for the Americans. Let's move on to the next.
Yeah, I've got a couple of little things to show you, as well as a larger thing. So, the earlier Focke-Wulfs, the A variants, I don't think the A8 and the F8 have it, but they have new cockpits, the early versions. There'll be a full... Exactly which versions have it. But we have a new cockpit, looks really nice. For like 10 years I was annoyed by the crust on like this little like brace alongside the rim, and now it looks really good. So I'm really happy to see that. So yeah, these all have new cockpits. Same with the Stukas as well. I think every variant of the Stuka has one. I don't think there's one that's missing. I don't think so, maybe that's wrong, but I think they all have it. And they're all like a little bit different, like the Gs obviously don't have the window at the bottom there. Yeah, a couple of nice new cockpits. There's a few more, I think, for the BB1 and the SU2, which I don't know if we'll have time to show you, maybe at the very end. But yeah, they look really nice. Also another small one, well, small... semantically, the J288 is getting a couple of extra bombs, so it now gets the two giant 2,500 kilogram bombs in the middle. Previously it was just the Satan's up, but now it gets these two bigger ones as well. Not the most impactful for air realistic, because these ones will knock out a mini base anyway, but for ground these will be very, very mean. So, well, the 288's on sale at the moment, so obviously it's not in the game now, but if you want to... that interests you for the future, you can get a bit of a discount now. So yeah, that's going to be quite... quite...
I hadn't seen those bombs up until now. They look cartoonishly large.
I think it's the HE-111, one of those can carry it, the standard one, but yeah, now this one gets two in the internal bay, which is something.
Okay, I guess we can show the ground vehicle once we do the...
Let's do that, yeah.
Okay. Alright. We have been doing a little bit of a rework of one of the oldest and favorite maps in the game, Abandoned Factory. You may know the old cab rush onto A rather, because it's easier. Yeah, so the layout itself hasn't changed all that much. However, we have added a lot of little graphical details, some objects, foliage, all the good stuff, and it looks absolutely amazing.
So Mike says a lot, really is a lot. Like I said earlier, it's like upgrading like a PS2 game to like a PS5 game. It looks really, really good. So yesterday I was playing around on this map. We were talking with one of the map designers and talking about the new map, and I was like, okay, I'll have a look. And then I realized that I'd lost like 2 hours of work time just like driving around, and I didn't get anything done for like the first 2 hours. But yeah, it's really, really nice. So as Mike said, there's not really too much, I think, at all that's changed in terms of the flow of the map or how the map actually is structured. It's mostly purely visual. There's a lot of little details that we can show you as we go around. It's pretty much like an entire overhaul. Like I think basically all of the assets are upgraded. And yeah, like I'm someone that loves detail, just looking at just little things all over. So it's really, really good. It's a lovely upgrade. And yeah, I can also show you the looks as we drive around. So yeah, like pretty much like an analog to the XM800T or the Fox or something like that. So. It's nice that Germany gets one of these too. It's pretty nice in terms of mobility. The elevation is also quite nice, so you can use it as like a pseudo anti-air as well. With the HVAP, you get the, well, it's the standard penetration for a gun like this. Pretty nice overall. It's got a bit of artificial survivability with being like so long. So you can take some shots, but the armor's obviously not that impressive overall. But yeah, in terms of mobility, what you can actually do with it, there's a lot of options, which is really nice. It's a great like lineup vehicle, especially if you're up-tiered as well, and the vehicles that you usually have that can't rely as much on their armor. This thing doesn't need to in any case, so it's basically up-tier proof in that regard. So it's a very nice thing to have for sure.
Do you guys remember those old GTA 5 videos where people were trying to see if they could stop the trains? Well, before you couldn't really do much with the trains, there were static objects, which kind of limited the map flow, especially if you had a powerful vehicle, you kind of were funneled in. Yeah, we have changed that, at least on this map. You can now derail the train tracks, you can push them away, you can make your own pathways. Which should open up the map to a lot more gameplay options, and Jesus Christ, that just caused a massive amount of damage there. So yeah, you can now push the train tracks. If you want to have some custom battles, just trying to see where you can push all the train tracks into. I kind of want to see if someone can somehow manage to push one of the train carts onto the roof on A.
You could probably do some cross stuff, yeah.
That would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they do. There's a bit of work to do on them, but they can move along the rails as well. So if you sort of want to make some kind of passive cover along the way, you can kind of do that as well, which is nice. So yeah, before they had some elements to them you could shoot through, and some that were completely, but you couldn't do any damage through them at all. So the difference there is nice. It makes them a bit more dynamic and helps a fair bit. So yeah, definitely have a look through, explore the map. The guy that did the bulk of the work on it, like, really impressive. So please send the guy some thanks, because it's really nice.
They have Abrams, they have Leopards, they have
Alright, let's move on to the next vehicle. Germany is not only getting deluxe in this update, we are also adding the Eastern German OSA AKM. This is an SBA system. It is based on the Soviet OSA AK. And it features 6 missiles, which are mouse-guided. You also have a radar. In the current version, it doesn't have IRST. I'm not sure if it is supposed to have that. We'll see once the update goes live. But most importantly, it does have a fairly large launch range. 10.3 kilometers. Gives the Germans a fairly good anti-air defense at this battle rating. As mentioned, it is mouse-aimed. Rocket diameter is pretty good, so you have a lot of explosive mass, which also leads to a fairly large explosion radius. And we can quickly go into a test run with it, just to show you the maneuverability of the missile itself.
For whatever reason, I always thought this vehicle was really small, but
it is massive.
It's really big, I had no idea.
Okay, so it completely blocks your screen. If you're trying to aim at anything without zooming in, good luck. You do have a massive radar array at the top, which currently... Oh, it is already modeled, okay. So you can fold it down, which should help a little bit.
It's a stylish fold.
And you do have IRC. Okay, good. So you can still lock onto stuff without the radar being active. And the missile itself can't be used in very close ranges, but it is fairly maneuverable. Doesn't wobble around too much, and is a decent speed. Anyway. Let's have a quick look at the internal stuff. You have a lot of jolly fellows, right?
Couple of fellas, yeah, hanging out.
Interesting enough, nothing in the turret itself, so if you can somehow find a hill where you can haul down this absolute monstrosity, you may actually be able to haul down it and not have the crew be destroyed. Although the missiles are a rather big weak spot, and I want to test something which we haven't tested yet. It looks amphibious.
It does indeed.
But is it amphibious? It is amphibious. Okay, yeah,
so you can
world's
just
first
shoot in the
SBA platform
water.
that can be launched on water. You can be now a naval game player. Yes. Anyway, this is the OSA AKM. There are a few other nations that will also get it. So we have Germany, we also have Russia, which will get their own version, and Italy, interesting enough, also gets access to the OSA AKM. So, 3 nations getting a new SAM missile system for helping you out in ground RB. Alright, what do we have next? We have the USSR.
We do. I can show you the next Dreams Come True vehicle, which is the KV-7. This is the U-13 model with this gun array. It's going to be pretty nice. It's a really cool vehicle to have. It's one of those that I never thought would actually come to the game. So I'm really glad it is. Yeah, obviously it's on the KV chassis. It has the armor layout of the more advanced versions that have the extra plate on top. So hull armor's pretty good. The top is 75 plus 25, so flat on you are still going to get hit by stuff like that, but you can angle. Angling is pretty solid. You can, if you angle just enough, and you probably keep moving, you're at range, you can just about shrug off the German 75 at most ranges. So yeah, armor-wise it's pretty good. Against the weaker guns, you're really solid. Against some of the stronger guns, you have means to protect yourself a bit. Obviously the gun traverse isn't very much though, so you can't traverse them too far either side. But they work really nice. You can shotgun them all together or fire them individually. So loading up with APCR maybe if you're fighting some of the stronger stuff, just to disable the gunner or the breach or something like that, and then finish them off with a 76. There's lots of options. It's a really nice vehicle, and yeah, it's going to be very fun. Got a lot of things planned for this as well. So yeah, very exciting. Are you ready?
I am ready. I am ready indeed.
Ready for what?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you the, plane you can see right there. This is the Su-34, and let me just give you a quick demonstration before you go into stats and stuff. Firstly, you may notice we also have a new airfield. There are various new airfield variants that you can also find in Air RB to make it look a bit nicer and more immersive, including some skid marks over there so you know where you're supposed to be touching down. Yes, you're not supposed to be touching down at the end of the runway. I see way too many people doing that. Terrible. You may have also seen the vapor trails on the top of the plane as you do high AOA maneuver. The flight model of the thing is fairly interesting. It can pull insane AOA, but also bleeds its speed completely doing so. And you may have noticed I am carrying a new type of weapon, the Grom 1. Let's see what we can do with it, shall we?
It's got to work. It's got to work.
Vertical. I mentioned on yesterday's stream, force field effect. I really hope this works. If it does, it should look very, very cool. Because if you enable full real controls, you can do silly stuff like this.
Yeah, ace combating. Let's go.
That's gonna be sick.
That's great.
Yep, this plane can fully Cobra. You can do some absolutely insane post-stall maneuvers. It's honestly just so fun to play. However, of course, in actual battle, it's not going to be all that useful trying to do this, because you bleed so much speed, it's going to be very easy for the enemy to pick you off with missiles and with the guns. But come on, it's so fun!
It really is, yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do, especially for cinematics and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And for like, you know, the 1 in 1,000 games where it actually works and you get a kill with it. So, yeah, it's very nice.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Grom. There are two new variants of this, well, bomb/missile. It is technically a guided bomb, a glide bomb. The Grom 2 is a pure glide bomb without rocket assistance. The Grom 1 does have rocket assistance, which allows you to engage targets from very, very, very far away. Slight issue there is they are all GPS guided, so they will not work against moving targets, only stationary targets. But because you can carry 6 of them, let's see what we can do against that column of MBTs that is over there.
Go for it.
We do have the internal camera, which does not have thermal vision, but that's fine. We can just fire off all our missiles individually. We don't need to lock on anything. They are GPS guided, so as long as the target stays stationary, it is all fine. It's stupid, but I love doing this.
It's good, yeah.
Alright. Let's check out the modifications and stats in the hangar real quick then.
It's gonna be like 13.7.
Let's see. Alright. Modifications. You have a lot to go for here. You have everything from KH-25s, KH-29s, the Grom, the KH-38ML, which is going to be a better option for ground RB probably with moving targets. You do have access to a full array of air-to-air missiles. You can bring a lot of R-77s and R-73s. R-73s in particular are going to be very interesting on this plane if you're doing one-on-one dogfights, given that you can do such extreme post-stall maneuvers, and the R-73 by itself is thrust vectoring. You can do some very, very fun Ace Comet type stuff, which is absolutely amazing. You do have some very big guided bombs as well, 1,500 kilograms, which you can take multiple of, and there are multiple various different types with TV guidance. I think there's a laser guided one, as well as a dumb bomb. You can carry a lot of KH-29s, a lot of bombs, a lot of these Groms. Quickly showing you the stats of the Grom, if I can make this show up roughly in red mode. So the Grom 1 has a very, very good missile guidance time of 400 seconds, and it is still a bomb. It's basically a 500 kilogram bomb, which does mean you have a lot more explosive damage splash radius than you do with missiles of, well, equivalent number you can carry. And given that they are rocket assisted, you can also fire them above Mach 1, and they will also accelerate to a decent speed. Guidance is decent. It's not quite as maneuverable perhaps as regular GPS guided bombs because they can't quite pull the same AOA, but they are much more maneuverable than laser guided bombs, which is fairly good. And then you also have the Grom 2, if I can find it, there we go. The Grom 2 is basically the same thing, except it doesn't get a rocket assist motor, which theoretically does mean you have less of a range with it. However, it also means your launch isn't going to be as obvious. If you use this in ground RB, you're going to you can launch these bombs without the SPA system maybe noticing that you have launched them. It can be an advantage in and of itself.
Absolutely.
And if you want to know where it is in the tech tree, it is going to be right at the end of the SU line here after the SU-24.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
I'm really wanting to look at chat after the stream. Alright, next up we have the Object 140.
Yeah, I can quickly show this. This is a new store premium vehicle. Very nice. It's a bit lower than the 55. And also 1BR lower than the T62 as well. Visually quite similar. The armor is a bit different. The hull is the same thickness, but has a slightly harsher angle, so it's a bit more impressive there. Also has the slight sloping, like some of the IS tanks on the side of the hull. So if you angle it, it actually can be quite good. And the turret as well is also not too bad. But yeah, most important is the gun, which is really nice with APHE. You get a huge penetration, really. It can't overpressure. It doesn't have quite enough HE fillet, but really powerful. It's, you know, you're mostly going to one-shot what you hit anyway, so it's a very forgiving round in that regard as well. But apart from that, it's the standard stuff. So technology, not incredible. You don't have much in terms of thermals or anything like that. Stabilizer and sort of that more like rugged sort of Sovietness of the earlier MBTs they have. Also got the KBVT on the top. It's nice for low-flying aircraft and some light vehicles too. It's going to be nice. It's one I've been looking forward to for quite a while, and yeah, it's quite fun to play. It's always satisfying to slot stuff with a giant HE, or APHE rather.
Could you show the transmission real quick to see what the reverse is like?
Yes.
8.1 kilometers is above average for Russian tanks, I feel, but it's not great.
It's similar enough mobility-wise to some of the other analogs that you'll have in the tree. Reload, I think, is the same as the regular 100mm. So, yeah, it's like a side grade to a lot of the other vehicles that are there already. I think it fits nice. It's got a really strong lineup, so yeah, it's a good one to go for, I think. It's going to be fun.
Great Britain.
All right. And finally, Russia's also getting access to a new helicopter. This is the Mi-8 AMT, and I have no idea how to say that. Word salad. Anyway, this variant gets access to some interesting weapons. There we go, sorry. Access to the attacker missile. Not the greatest of ranges, but it is a tandem heat warhead, so it should be fairly effective against ERA plates. You have access to some gun pods as well. This one is fairly interesting. It's a gun pod that combines a 12.7mm gun as well as two 7.62s in minigun configuration, which gives you an absolutely insane fire rate. However, given that they are rather low caliber, they don't have a lot of penetration power, and you can't gimbal them, so yeah, cool, bit of an issue. They do look cool. They look very cool. You have access to your rockets as well as a fair amount of the Igla air-to-air missiles, and you can mix and match them as you want, given that the custom weapon loadouts are available for this helicopter. Alright, let's move on to Britain. Yeah.
I can show you a couple of bits and bobs. So this is the RAM. It's the same as the version in the American tree. It's not going to disappear from the American tree, at least right now. Gets a unique skin here, and it's nice to have it in the British tree. I've been like, ever since it came out for the American tree, like I don't know, 10 years ago, whenever it was. I've been wanting it in this one too. It's really nice to have it. It's a good lineup as well. 3.7 around that BR. You can do a lot with it. And the RAM itself is also a very nice vehicle, so nice little premium. And also I can show you the Scimitar, which is like a slightly sort of chubbier fox. Offensively they are very, very similar, but as this is a bit bigger and doesn't have wheels, obviously it's a little less adept mobility-wise. It's not quite as ratty as the fox. Has a little bit less gun depression and elevation. But apart from that, it's a very similar vehicle. And obviously this is the first version of the Scimitar as well. I'm sure we'll get some of the beefier versions down the line in the future, but yeah, it's a bit different from the Fox. It's probably slightly more survivable in some situations, but generally they're going to be quite similar. Off-road, it's pretty good, and obviously it's tracked. But yeah, gun, same. So nothing too drastically different, but it's a nice alternative option.
I have nothing else. It's the second spawn with a fairly good gun, as long as you get onto the flanks of enemies with scouting abilities. Alright, we also have another squadron vehicle. This is the Super Heinz.
The boy.
It's a South African variant, in fact called the Zuboy, which is the, well, best Heinz you can probably get your hands on. It is the most modernized. It looks absolutely menacing with this belt protector cover over here, and you have access to a unique type of missile, the ZT-3A2 Ingwe air-to-ground missile, South African variant, which is a tandem heat warhead missile once again, sadly only with a 5-kilometer range, so you're still going to be within range of some missile SPAA, but given that you have some good covering over here, it should be fairly hard for them to lock onto you with IR missiles. Anyway.
Yeah, it's the same missile that's on the Ratel with the missiles, so the
Just for a
missile
random
variant.
Russian
So
tank
if
to
you're
end
familiar
up
with that one,
bouncing the
so
shit.
pretty much like a similar analog.
Hit the
The only
turret.
weakness of this thing is that it doesn't have any
Shitloads of
air-to-air
miles.
missiles, it's just pure air-to-ground. So you really just have the countermeasure options and the autocannon. You can technically use the missiles against aircraft, because it's not too easy, but yeah, in terms of ground performance against tanks, it's very solid for that.
This just looks so good.
It does.
Alright, next up we also have the Tornado GR4. You may have seen this one in a recent devlog. Main point of this is adding 2 new weapon systems. Now, there's a bit of a disclaimer we have to do here. Starting off with the Brimstones. The Brimstone missile in real life is incredibly capable. It can be fired at a general area where you expect enemies to be and then autonomously search, track, and destroy enemies by itself. We find for gameplay purposes that is a little bit too much capability, so we're not giving it that. What we are introducing in this update anyway is the semi-active laser mode only for the Brimstone, which turns us into a regular laser-guided ATGM. Velocity isn't the greatest, however, given that you can carry a lot of them, as long as you don't get shot down, you can take down a fair few targets. And given that you also have a lot of penetration, it should have absolutely no problem dealing with even the most heavily armored top-tier MBTs. However, what I find to be a little bit more interesting is this, the Paveway 4. Now, let me quickly set up a test flight for this so I can show you a little bit more what this can actually do. Go for it. You may know we have GPS bombs in the game. GPS bombs are great in that they will fly towards the target that you point at. You can fire multiple bombs at multiple targets in very quick succession. However, GPS bombs can't track moving targets. Once you launch the bomb, there's no way to affect the guidance. Then, of course, you have laser-guided bombs. Laser-guided bombs are great in that they can track moving targets, which is very, very useful. However, it doesn't mean that you need to maintain the laser lock, which means you are going to have less options in trying to evade incoming enemy fire,
I'm streaming, so I can't.
Have you ever wished to be able to combine the both? Have a bomb that can both work as a GPS bomb, so you don't have to engage with it at all. But if you are launching at a moving target, be able to launch a laser and guide it with a laser. Well, that is exactly what the Paveway 4 does. The Paveway 4, when you launch it, acts as a regular GPS bomb. So you point it at the target, it launches, it does all its things by itself, but will not track moving targets. So let me give you a quick example here. I have the Paveway 4 selected. I will launch, and launch, and that should be able to get all 4 targets at once. Takes a while to get there. However, if you do enable your laser lock, it will switch over into laser guided mode, which means you can track moving targets. Now, I don't believe those are tracking right now, but I can give you a different example perhaps. If I turn around, I think one of the bombs actually failed to destroy the tank, that's fine. I will do the following. I will launch the bomb over to the side of the MBT. And now I'm going to enable my laser lock and see if it tracks the MBT properly. May not have had enough velocity there.
No. The thought was there, the thought was there.
The
What's
thought was
going on
there.
there?
It would have gotten there if it had enough velocity. You could see the bomb was trying to track. But yeah, this is going to be your best option for bombcast, in that you have the flexibility of being able to use both GPS mode and laser guidance mode, which I am a very, very big fan of. And since you can carry 6 of them in total, it does make for a very good cast.
Here soon. I know that.
Okay, we can just quickly show the modifications.
Sure.
Of the Tornado GR4. And there you go. You do have access to the Lighting 2 pod, fairly good zoom, as well as thermal vision capabilities. You have access to a fair amount of countermeasures as well, which I think you may need to put on some pods. Yep, large countermeasures as well as chaff countermeasures, so you can bring up to 1,200 chaff. So you can just dump them all over the place so you don't get locked by radar. And you can bring a wide variety of munitions. Alright, as well as BGM 2000, by the way. I love this mod. Rocket assisted. Okay, let's move on then to the next nation. We don't have something for Japan just yet. Maybe you can...
there should be something for Japan a bit later. It's not ready to show you yet, but I believe, no promises, but I think they should be getting something else a bit later as well. But yeah, skipping that, I can show you a new China friend.
China? Okay.
This is the PLZ-05, which is a new long-barreled artillery-esque vehicle. Functionally not quite in the game, obviously, but it's actually really nice. I didn't think it was going to be quite so good. It's similar-ish to the Vida. It doesn't have stabilizer, it doesn't have any high-quality thermals or anything, but it does have a laser rangefinder, which I didn't know it actually had until now, which is really nice. And it also has this semi-armor piercing shell, which I think is also quite new as well. You probably won't need it that much, because around this BR you're going to start meeting things that will have quite a decent amount of frontal armor, to the point where this may struggle a little bit. The regular HE is probably going to be generally the better choice. It's going to one-shot anything anyway, as long as you hit a decent spot, which you can with the rangefinder. So it's nice to have the option though. It's actually pretty good. It will obviously, anything that you penetrate is going to go up instantly. Autoloader is 6 seconds, pretty nice. Gun depression, no. Survivability, not quite either. But it's a nice vehicle, it's going to work really well, and the laser rangefinder, yeah, is going to help a ton. It's a really nice addition. It's going to be fun to use.
Alright, for Italy, we also have, as I mentioned before, the OSA AKM, the Italian version, well, Romanian version I should mention, which is in the Italian tech tree, as well as boat. MS-444, a little premium boat you can buy for Golden Eagles, I believe.
It's like a Higgins boat.
It probably is. All the torpedo boats, to be honest, look very similar to me.
They're gonna show France next.
But yeah, you do have some very nice torpedoes. You have a Bofors gun in the back, which cannot fire forwards. And you also have 3 of the 20mm guns, which are fairly effective at this battery rating.
I hope it goes down to 2-3, because then it has like 3 other boats that can also work in the lineup with. But yeah, it'd be nice. I mean, it's nice to have like a mid-tier boat to help you progress through the lines, and it's pretty solid overall.
Give my Frenchies another
Alright, next up, France. We are adding Leopard 2s to France. Just give you a bit more variety in your options for top tier, a bit more, well, meat to flesh out your lineups. You are getting the Dutch Leopard 2A4, 2A5, and the 2A6. 3 Leopard 2s in total. They are going to be very similar, if not identical, to the German variants. Fun fact, by the way, did you know that up until very recently, I believe, the Dutch army was under the command of the German army?
Yeah, yeah. And they're looking into that at the time when the sub-trade came out. Yeah.
If you're a fan of leopards, you can now play them in France. I'm really hoping that someone will do that very bright orange leopard 2 skin.
Yeah, there's one on the market, I think, for the Swedish, well, the Finnish one.
Well, that we can get for the Dutch one.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
G-skin, let's make it happen. But yeah, it's going to be nice for, in terms of lineup variety, with the Leclercs. There's not a huge amount of other variants for them. There's a couple of prototypes, but aside from that, there's not really too many other options. So it's going to be nice to like bulk out the lineups and give you basically more options and more spawns, which is the intention really. And I think on that basis, it works pretty fine. Yeah.
Alright, we also have a big old boat for France.
Yeah. I can show you Dunkirk, or as one of the CMs called it earlier, Dumb Quirk, which is it certainly has a quirk, but it's certainly not dumb. I'm full of zingers today. Yeah, it's a very unique battleship. It's really, really nice. I don't honestly know too much about it, but it has the quite distinctive quad array of the front in the front here with the 2 turrets. No main turret at the back, got the float plane, and you have the also similarly quite interesting quad mounts for the 130mm guns at the back too. Which is nice. It's going to be a ship that's going to perform a little bit differently in terms of the best way to position it and approach gameplay to it, which is nice, as a lot of the other ones are all quite similar. Not completely similar, but similar enough to the point where this definitely stands out in terms of how it's going to be used. It's really nice. It's a pretty ship. I can quickly show you the general stats and stuff as well. Your HE and your chunky SAP as well.
With the gun layout it has, you can basically face directly to the front of the enemy and still have your full main battery capabilities.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. Angle it a little bit if you want to throw some shots off, but yeah, overall, pretty solid. As well, if you have like a little friend sneaking up on behind you, you've got these as well. So it's covered all around really from that regard.
The flip also is very interesting. It looks like if the French took the Walrus, the English floatplane, but made it actually not a death trap.
They all just remind me of Porco Rosso every time, so I hope one day we can get it in the tree or something.
We're going to be getting the Benelux line in December.
Alright, and finally it is time for Israel. We have the Sabre Mark I. This is a heavily modified M60. It is going to be very similar in capabilities to the M60T, the Turkish tank minnow, or the M60S even, given that it also has the 120mm gun. Textures are not quite finished yet, just keep that in mind.
Yeah, all preliminary on this one.
We have a stock heat shell as well as access to the APF-SDS with a very high penetration for this batch rating. You also have a laser rangefinder and a thermal vision for your gunner. Not the commander, however. Overall, this vehicle isn't going to be the most survivable. The add-on armor is more against chemical munitions. APF-SDS is still going to go through you like butter because it is in essence just still just a M60. But with the added capability of the gun, it should be fairly good. These are the velocity speeds, velocity values, forwards 48 km per hour. Okay, not the best. 11.3 km per hour backwards, again, okay, not the best. With a 908 horsepower engine, fully upgraded. Keep in mind, of course, it may still change, but that is what we currently have on this vehicle.
It's more glass cannon-y. It's pretty cramped inside. Mobility and armor, yeah, not really too much to rely on, but you've got a really good gun. The reload as well is very solid. So it's going to work in full up tiers, anything like that, obviously, because the armor's not going to be that reliable anywhere. So again, it's a really good lineup vehicle, a nice sort of support vehicle as well if you want to main the car.
Whenever you're done with your clothes, I'm going to do mine next.
And finally, we also have a Strike Eagle variant for Israel, the F-15I Ra'an. I have no idea how to pronounce that.
It was a good gun, like that.
It may be right, it may not be right.
Even if not, I like it.
Yeah, weapons options are going to be basically the same. You have access to AMRAAMs, you have access to AIM-9Ls as well as AIM-9Ms, I believe. Yes, you do. Access to extra countermeasures, fuel tanks. You can have these extra... I forgot what they call it. I think conformal fuel tanks that are mounted here on the side, like under your armpits, essentially. As well as access to the new glide bomb, which can be used from very long ranges. TV guided bomb, IR guided bomb, all that good stuff. So in capabilities, very, very similar to the American Strike Eagle, but for Israel. Okay, that is it for vehicles. We have a little bit of time still left to do some other stuff. What can we show? Let's see.
I can quickly show you the cockpit for the BB-1 and the SC-2s.
I'm gonna get ready to stream
I think they're pretty much the same, so I'll show the BB-1. If you remember the old version of this, it was very crusty, and now it's looking really nice. So it's not the most complicated cockpit, so nothing sort of otherworldly.